Hi, Dolph. How are you?
Hi, Brian. How are you? I'm good, man.
I've got to say, first, I've got to get the fanboy out really quick. I am such a huge fan of you. I grew up watching all of your movies. I just can't express how big of a fan I am. So it's really an honor to speak with you.
Thanks, Ryan. That's nice to hear. I appreciate it. Thanks, buddy.
So with your new film Altitude, um, I know it's falling into the action genre, which you do so well with. What stood out about this role to you?
Well, I kind of liked it because the character. It's not a huge action piece, right? Throw kicks and shoot people and run around driving vehicles. It's a little more of it has like a thriller aspect, and I like the fact that my character is a bit funny, kind of in a devious way, and kind of full of himself a little bit and cocky, and it has some interesting qualities in there that it's always fun to play with on screen.
Well, you're a pretty tall guy yourself, and I know this kind of set, working in a confined set where it's meant to be like inside of an airplane, that could be a little bit difficult. Did you find any challenges, kind of working in that environment? Maybe a little bit of claustrophobia or anything?
Yeah, it wasn't so much claustrophobia. It was just messy, because I was in the pilot's seat for a lot of it, and I had to, my knees get stuck, and then there's a fight in there, and you just bump your head on this, twist your knee on something else. I'll tell you something. Yeah, I don't want to get in a fight in an airplane cockpit. I mean, give me the ring any day.
Oh, most definitely. Speaking of the ring, you also worked alongside Chuck Liddell. How was that working with a fellow martial artist?
I knew him a little bit because I did a film called War Pigs, which is a World War II movie, and he was in it. Mickey Rourke was in it. A couple other people. So I know him a little bit, and I saw him fight back in the day against Randy Couture, who's a friend of mine. Yeah, he's a tough guy. He certainly is a big guy and strong, and he has a cool look. I think in the right type of roles, in the right type of genre, he can be very effective on screen.
Now, I mentioned martial arts. I know you come from that background as well. Um, did you two kind of find any sort of connection with that? I know you said you're friends with Randy Couture, but I guess being just a martial artist yourself, did you kind of connect or bond in any special way with that?
I didn't have a lot of time with Couture. I know him from the Expendables, of course, but
Right.
I didn't have a lot of time with the other actors on on Altitude because I worked mostly with. I didn't work with him that much on that picture with Chuck Liddell. I worked with the other. I guess I'll for next time around I'll do a little workout with him or something.
Uh, so I have to ask about your past too. I mean, a friend like my partner and I for our blog, we were just talking about how you could actually be the real life Batman, given your martial arts background. You've got an MIT degree. I mean, you essentially are. I mean, you've got the brains and the brawn. What kind of brought you into acting in the first place?
That's what my dad said. Like, what's wrong with you, boy? No, no. What happened? He was an engineer. My other brother was an engineer. My older brother's an engineer. My other brother's an engineer. So I just wanted to, I wanted to please my dad and get the scholarship to MIT, and I got it. But my heart was really in the arts, and it was even though I did sports as well. But I was a musician when I was younger, and I was, I painted a lot and did a lot of drawing, and I think that when I discovered acting, just kind of by chance in New York, where it was just something that I knew I wanted to do. It was just, even though I wasn't good at it, I was an amateur, but it felt good to be emotional and to express that. And I had also, my dad and I had a tough relationship when I was younger, so I could use some of that and express some of that. And over the years, it's just proven to be more satisfying than the other things I was good at. You know.
Yeah, they even kind of make a joke of it in Expendables. I remember saying, and it was true that you actually had your degree in chemistry. But was that kind of playing to the whole like how you kind of fall into a big tough guy role given your build and your look and your demeanor, and really underneath it all you're this pretty much genius.
I'm a little geek. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that is, Sly did say Gunner was a genius before he lost his mind or whatever it was, So, yeah, what it is, yeah, I did manage somehow to become this incredible contrast between, a big guy with good physique and fighter, and then somebody who was a chemical engineer. I don't know how I did that, but I guess somebody had to do it, and it's still weird to me, and it's to the rest of the world, I guess, as well. And I mean, the only good thing is that as I'm getting older now, and it's sort of I get a little more mileage out of that, and I can do other things, not just personally, but I can use that. Maybe eventually I can use it a little more than I have in the past.
Oh, sure, definitely. I mean, you're definitely a guy of multiple talents. I know you recently had a run on Arrow as well, TV. Between like a film like Altitude and working on something on television, what would you say like the differences are for your career?
Well, the TV now is, of course, very close to feature film. I mean, the way they shoot it and light it. The only thing is there's more dialogue, and you have to learn it quicker because you get the script a few days before you're going to go, and then you got to memorize maybe 5 or 6 pages of dialogue or more, and try to make it work. And so that's tough. But then on the other hand, you're playing the same character over a whole season or in multiple seasons, and that's fun. Because sometimes, you put a lot of work into a character, and then it's gone, 90 minutes, it's over, and then you never do it again, or unless you do sequels, And in television, you can have fun with that guy, and you can kind of take out new turns and find new aspects of the same person, over the season. Well, I really enjoy that.
Now you mentioned drawing from some of your own personal connections and things like that for other acting roles. Was there anything personal that you drew from for your role in Altitude?
I think no. I think it was more trying to find a kind of a cocky, self-assured, side of myself. I usually don't act like that, but this is like the other side, the guy who thinks he knows it all, and he's kind of looking down on other people, and he's a smart ass, and it's kind of fun to step out of your regular costume and be somebody else, and be able to do that for a full day or for a full week or months. It's fun, that's part of what's fun about acting.
And I also wanted to bring this up as well, since you did kind of touch on, we touched on Arrow a little bit, but you were the first Punisher, and I know now that we've seen a few different iterations of the character. What do you think of the character so far since you first played the character? How do you think it's evolved?
I hate to tell you this, but I hadn't seen the other movies because I don't know, not that I don't like them, but I don't know, I don't watch a lot of movies, and I never caught them, but I don't know how it's evolved. But I hear the last one was pretty good, they said, and I mean, it's a dark character, and I think it was something that was a bit ahead of its time, in that respect, like it was kind of like the modern Batman character a little bit, vengeful, but like with a dark edge, and didn't try to be a good guy really. So I enjoyed doing it, and I'm sure some of these other movies are quite good, and people are doing a good job, So yeah, I'll have to catch up on Scene one day. I don't know when I have some time off.
Yeah, the new guy is he's very good, but I really did like your original portrayal of the character at the time. I thought it was exactly what they needed for that character to kind of portray him in a dark way. So, when it comes to playing an anti-hero, for instance, like in Altitude, I guess you would kind of call it anti-hero in that realm. Do you prefer playing more of the villain or more of the hero?
Well, they're both interesting. It's the villain is easier in one way way because you just come up with a couple of fun mannerisms and you find some kind of emotional trigger, something that was done to you by somebody. It could just be it doesn't have to be in the script. Something you find that ticks you off, that makes you so you can justify what you're doing to yourself. Why you are a villain, why you're doing these bad things. As a hero, yeah, you have to play in the moment, and you're reacting a lot reacting to things. So you have to be very, very sharp on set in a different way because you kind of taking things in, and the audience takes it in through your eyes. So that's a different challenge, and it's quite difficult actually too. So I look forward to doing both.
Well, is there anything else that you have coming up that you're looking forward to outside of Altitude?
Well, I got a couple of things. I got a movie I'm probably going to do in London that is a thriller, small movie that I'm independent picture I put together with a friend of mine. We're producing, I'm directing it, and then I have a couple of bigger ones. Big movies that I'm planning. I haven't signed any of them, but they're big studio pictures. So I'm trying to do both, and there's a project in Sweden that I want to do next year in the summer, which is a World War One thriller, romantic thriller that I'm just directing. I'm not in it. That should be a lot of fun that I've had for many years. So yeah, I have a few things to look forward to, for sure.
Well, Dolph, I want to thank you so much for your time. Like I said, I'm a huge fan, and I have nothing but respect for everything you do. You've well, like I said, not just your acting career, but it's just impressive everything you've accomplished in your life. So, yeah, just congrats on everything, and I just wish you nothing but the best for your future.
Thanks, my friend, and nice to talk to you, and hopefully we can talk on the next picture.
Oh, most definitely. I'd look forward to it.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dolph.